Hello and welcome to the programme.
Coming up tonight, Journey of Hope. After a desperate year-long wait, 2-year-old Penelope finally receives the gift of a donor heart.
Unfit for a king, historians call for help to stop Knaresborough Castle falling to rack and ruin.
Fair's fair. Disability campaigners say West Yorkshire's new fleet of buses must move with the times.
And season's eatings. The famous Mrs. Christmas serves up dinner and dancing for those who might otherwise be alone.
First tonight, to a family's desperate wait for a life-saving donor heart, and now the prospect of a Christmas together they might never have had.
Penelope Greathead spent the last year 250 miles from her Whitby home in Great Ormond Street Hospital. Now, a machine was keeping the toddler alive until a suitable organ could be found.
The calendar followed Penelope's story after she was transferred there from Leeds General Infirmary. Her parents set up temporary home in the capital. Her mother even gave birth to Penelope's baby sister while they were there.
Now, Penelope eventually got the donation that she so desperately needed, but her parents' fight to help others goes on. They've been speaking to Helen Steele.
Playing with her dog Baxter back home in North Yorkshire, and finally seeing the farm animals she'd only ever looked at in books. They're scenes Penelope's parents feared they'd never see.
What's this?
For the past year, she'd been attached to a machine keeping her alive at Great Ormond Street Hospital. Then came the news a donor heart had been found and surgeons were ready to operate.
Obviously, we'd been waiting for such a long time that it's just you want it to happen, but at the same time, it's just so nerve-wracking because it's such a major operation. There's still nothing quite right about handing your little girl over to the surgeons that are going to do something like that. Yeah.
Thankfully, the 10-hour operation was successful and incredibly, just a few days later, Penelope was back on her feet. For her parents, though, their joy was bittersweet, knowing that for Penelope to receive the heart, another young life had been lost.
How do you feel when you think about that?
It's hard because that family had now not got their little person now at home for Christmas, so it's tough. The morning after her surgery, it had been really crazy stormy weather. The night of her surgery, she was in theatre overnight, and then we woke up in the morning and it was a beautiful sunny autumn crisp day, and I just thought that little person's looking down at us and thinking, hoping everything goes all right, and we've just got to have them in our thoughts and let them know that we'll give her the best life as possible and we'll cherish the gift that they gave us.
Now settling back home near Whitby, the family is enjoying simple pleasures.
When it got to about 10 months in there, a part of me started to think we were never going to leave, and we were just going to be in London and just be in that hospital setting forever. She loves the little farm animals through the whole time in hospital, and I think she just thought they were just little 3D creatures, but now to come out and see them all around, literally right outside her bedroom window, it's fantastic.
It was exactly a year ago that Penelope had a cardiac arrest and was placed on life support in Leeds. Her family were told her only hope was a Berlin heart, a machine which could keep her alive during the search for a donor. But there are only around 12 specialist beds for these Berlin hearts in the whole of England, and none were available.
The consultants and the team in Leeds basically said to us, there's no other options for Penelope right now. There is no beds in any of the hospitals in the UK that can support her on a Berlin heart. So your options are out. So essentially she was going to be left to die.
Her parents spoke out about this lack of provision, and Calendar followed their desperate plight. Then came the news they wanted. A Berlin heart had become available at London's Great Ormond Street Hospital.
What do you want to change?
So obviously more awareness around organ donation is the main one. So you can see, yes, you agree as well, don't you? Yes. you can see the amazing things that can do, and if another family can make that decision and see that the impact and positive change it can make for another child. And I do worry that if it had happened to somebody else, another family, that they wouldn't have maybe fought like Jordan and I fought, and so I just hope it never ever happens to anyone.
The NHS says the limited number of Berlin hearts is due to a lack of organs and urged people to consider donating. Jordan and Holly have now launched a charity and have raised more than £130,000 with the help of the local community. Events like this tractor run will now take place annually to support families going through what they did. For now, though, they're looking forward to a family Christmas they might never have had.
Little things. She was dancing to some Christmas songs the other day, and you just think, wow, this is incredible. She's home, and hopefully, we'll all be having a nice settled Christmas at home.
We'll make sure she has the most healthy and love-filled life, and just literally live life to the full as much as she can, and just do it all knowing that donor family aren't going to be able to have the same experience as what we are, but because of the decision they made, we're now back home with a healthy daughter.
Well, that's Penelope's dad, Jordan Greathead, ending Helen Steele's report. Amazing to see Penelope so full of life after all that she's been through over the last years. And thank you so much to Penelope's family for sharing their story with us. And of course, we wish them a very merry, happy and healthy Christmas.
Yes, we do. What a beautiful young family they are. Right then, to concerns now for the future of a castle in North Yorkshire that was once the favourite getaway for kings and queens.
Yes, Knaresborough Castle was built in the 1100s and for a time was home to Edward III's wife and his son, John of Gaunt.
But now there are fears that it may have to close to the public if steps aren't taken to protect it. Fraser Maud reports.
Built by the Normans, almost destroyed by Cromwell, and a favourite of kings and queens in between. Knaresborough Castle is steeped in history.
Edward II and Edward III, they used to come here away from York. They regarded York as one of the smelliest places in the realm, and they'd come to Knaresborough Castle. I mean, why not? I mean, it's a beautiful place to come to. They've got all the hunting out in the Knaresborough forest, and this was their favourite place.
But although it stood on its hill overlooking the Nid for almost 1,000 years, many in the town are worried that urgent work is needed to protect it and preserve it.
We're losing the features of the castle. There's a staircase going up to the banqueting hall up there. You can't see it. It's covered in weeds. It's just absolutely ridiculous. So it's just so disappointing that it's not just North Yorkshire Council. It was Harrogate Council that really where the rot set in, and they didn't maintain it for years, so they didn't treat it as a priority.
There are already over 3,000 signatures on a petition to fund the necessary upkeep and renovations, including that of the town's MP.
It is the focal point of a town, and that's what the town has been built around. So making sure that it's up to scratch and getting the attention and the care and love it needs and deserves is really top of the list.
Amongst the campaigners, the Deputy Mayor and a North Yorkshire councillor.
We want to make the most of the area. We do many events here, so as much as we talk about maintaining it, we'd like to improve the area as well, and I hope North Yorkshire should take that seriously as well.
What have they said when it's been raised in those meetings?
They've looked into it, they've sent us copies of reports on the conditions, but I think what we're concerned about is we're not seeing the action in terms of taking away the weeds and looking at the condition of the walls that we're concerned about.
North Yorkshire Council says it recognises the need to invest and has spent almost £400,000 on repair work over the past 20 years, but it says significant funds will be needed to maintain it. The campaigners say their fight will go on for the funds to keep the castle safe for future generations and to not let time and the elements finish the demolition job that Oliver Cromwell started. Fraser Maud, ITV News, Knaresborough.
Well, thank you very much indeed for watching Wednesday night's calendar. Still to come, we join the party down in Sheffield, where Mrs Christmas has been serving up a festive dinner for those who might otherwise be alone.
And after that fantastic sunrise first thing this morning, we saw a bit more cloud and quite a lot more rain during the afternoon and evening. More of your photos and, of course, the forecast for the next few days a little later on.
A murder investigation is underway in Mansfield after a 61-year-old man died last night.
Nottinghamshire police say 3 men have been arrested and officers are trying to piece together what happened. Emma Hayward is in Mansfield for us tonight. Emma.
Well, an incident was reported here in the early part of yesterday evening. Now, sadly, when paramedics arrived, they were unable to save the life of a 61-year-old man. You can see police remain on site here. They arrived here last night and their investigations have carried on through the night and through the day, and they remain on site. What we understand from police is that 3 men in their 20s have been arrested on suspicion of murder. They remain in police custody. I have spoken to a few neighbours here today who have expressed their shock and upset that this has happened to this person, and also shocked that this has happened in their neighbourhood. The man's family has been informed and is now being supported by police officers. But officers say they are in the early part of their investigation and are urging anyone with information to get in touch.
OK, Emma Hayward reporting from Mansfield. Thank you.
3 men and a woman have been found guilty of the murder of a man in Sheffield in 2023. The drug gang members were convicted of murdering 26-year-old Abdullah Hassan, who was shot after being lured out of a block of flats in Gledless Valley. Demi Dunford, Alex Taff, Andrew Horton and Asay Williams will be sentenced next month. Horton's sister Emma Horton was also convicted of perverting the course of justice.
A government minister has said he'd be happy to broker a discussion between Ashgate Hospice and the local Integrated Care Board to get everyone on the same page. Earlier this year, the Derbyshire Hospice proposed cuts to jobs and services because of financial difficulties. The issue was raised in Parliament today during a debate led by Chesterfield MP Toby Perkins.
I would therefore be more than happy to broker a discussion between the ICB, between concerned members of Parliament and the hospice to get to the bottom of what's going on. But it feels like the dialogue between the ICB and the management team and the hospice is not working.
Plans have been announced to reopen Sheffield's Lead Mill, which will include a co-working space for young people. The former music venue, which has hosted Sheffield legends Pulp and Arctic Monkeys over the decades, officially closed its doors back in June, but it will return as an increased capacity venue, its owners say, under the new name Electric Studios, and it's due to open in April.
The Bradford-based supermarket Morrison's is facing a £17 million tax bill after losing a legal challenge over rotisserie chickens. The supermarket chain argued that its chickens should be exempt from the standard 20% VAT tax, which is applied to hot food, as customers often eat the products cold or reheat them at home. But a tribunal found that due to the heat retention properties of the bags, they are eligible for the tax. Now, disability rights activists have staged a protest today calling for double-door buses to be introduced across West Yorkshire to improve safety and accessibility.
It comes as the county's Mayor Tracy Brabin prepares to buy hundreds of new buses which will operate when the network comes back under public control in 2027.
She and the local authority say that making it easier for everyone to travel is at the heart of their plans, but campaigners fear the new fleet will have just single doors, which they say are an obstacle and even unsafe for those with mobility problems. John Hill has the story.
What do we want? Double the door. When do we want it? Now.
A small but vocal protest in Leeds today. The call for better buses with double the number of doors. Those here with mobility challenges or in wheelchairs say they're simply fed up.
If you could speak to the Mayor in person, what would you say? What needs to change?
Training for the drivers of respectfulness towards a disabled person.
It's easy to miss your stop, actually, when it's a crowded bus and you have to shout, wait, wait!
How do you feel?
Like a second-class citizen, because too often I'm left at the bus stop when everybody else, you know, whose ambulance has boarded, and the bus driver just says, oh, the bus is too full, or they can't be bothered to ask people with prams to move out of the wheelchair space.
What would you like to see from transport in West Yorkshire? Because we want to hear from you.
As the Mayor asks for local people's views on the bus fleet of the future, she certainly got them today. These campaigners want more wheelchair spaces and extra bus doors. But with many existing bus stops built with a screen at the roadside, not the back of the pavement, Just how could passengers alight from a second door?
The Mayor, the combined authorities say it's simply not practical. You've got bus stops like this, you couldn't have a double door opening on to a perspex screen. It'd be unsafe.
Does this bus stop look any different than the bus stops they have in London, where they have double doors? I don't think so. So I don't think that's a credible argument.
A spokesperson for the authority said, "We understand the benefits that double doors bring, but path widths, existing bus station design and bus stops can make it difficult for customers exiting from a second central door."
The Mayor and her officials will study comments like today's before they draft their final plans. And with more than 100 million passenger journeys made on West Yorkshire's buses each year, it's clear that whatever's decided, it will have a huge impact on the travelling public. John Hill, ITV News, Leeds.
Now, in the run-up to Christmas, parents are being urged to have tough conversations with their children about online blackmail.
It's after the NSPCC revealed that 1 in 5 parents know a child who's been a victim, but that 2 in 5 have never spoken to their child about the dangers.
At a time of year when many children are staying indoors and are online, or they might be getting some new devices, experts say that honest and open dialogue is key in keeping your young people safe. Cara Digby reports.
When Nellie was just 14, she shared explicit photos of herself with her then boyfriend. When the relationship later ended, the photos were shared online. Months later, she would become the victim of blackmail.
I was contacted by a stranger who sent me images of myself and basically said that if I didn't send them more nude images, that they would then distribute these to everyone. A separate person actually contacted my mum and said, "Can you ask your daughter to send more images of herself over to me?" It was just pure horror, and yeah, I was absolutely paralysed with fear.
She seemed cool. We both played guitar and liked the same bands, but pretty quickly she wanted to do more than just chat.
Whether to get hold of more images or for financial gain, the National Crime Agency says online blackmail is usually the work of organised criminal gangs. A perpetrator will work to gain a child's trust over messaging and encourage them to send explicit images of themselves. They can then blackmail them for as little as £10.
We can see the real visible distress that children experience once they're engaged with a blackmailer. Often struggling to see a way out of this, and ultimately, when they can't see a way out, they do contemplate things such as suicide. But the offenders, they just don't care. They are ruthless.
While children and young people learn to navigate who they can trust, one cybersecurity expert in Sheffield says education and open conversation is vital.
When you're teaching a child to cross the road in the real world, you don't just say be careful and you leave the child to kind of cross the road on their own. You teach them the red man, the green man, and what to do and how to operate, and you take them through those stages so that they learn how to be safe in the real world. And I think we have to approach the online world like that.
It's taken time to rebuild her life, but Nellie, now 24, is studying a master's degree in criminology so that she can help others.
That's a worry, isn't it, for parents? That was Cara Digby with that report. Well, a little earlier I spoke about this issue to Rebecca Hipkiss from the NSPCC, and I started by asking her if children could be more at risk around the Christmas period.
Being at home and not away from school friends and that kind of thing means that young people are going to be online a little bit more. That's how they're keeping their friendships up. And also parents are sometimes out at work, and again that's going to mean that young people have more time unsupervised and with access to their devices.
If a child is targeted, what steps should you take?
Immediately I would suggest that they block the perpetrator. In terms of messages that are asking for money, absolutely do not pay anything. That is the advice that would be given by the police and the National Crime Agency. I think it's very difficult for young people to speak to their parents. They tend to be really, really embarrassed, which in turn means that parents need to have a really open mind about how they hear this information if this is what their young person shares with them.
And what sort of words would you use for the parent who wants to open that conversation with that child? How would you approach that?
Well, I think you can talk about lots of ongoing experiences that are in the news at the moment, which, you know, are the really sharp end of what's happening to young people when they are subject to these kind of scams. I think as parents, it can be a subject of interest rather than saying, is this happened to you? And young people can gauge from your reaction and your interest in such a conversation how you might be able to support them and how you might react if it happens to them.
Rebecca Hipkiss, thank you very much for your time this evening.
Thank you.
OK, let's check in with Mary Nightingale. She's here next with the ITV Evening News.
Coming up at 6:30, doctors strike again, walking off the job for the next 5 days. But there are concerns that conditions are getting ever worse on the wards. The first funerals are held for the victims of the Bondi terror attack as the surviving suspected gunman is charged with 15 counts of murder. Here, the Prime Minister warns former Chelsea owner Roman Abramovich to pay up his club proceeds to Ukraine. And why fewer people are tucking into Turkey this Christmas. Well, do join me for those stories and more at 6:30.
Well, some people are tucking into Turkey, I can tell you that much, because it's been a big day for the busiest woman in Sheffield, Gloria Stewart, otherwise known as Mrs Christmas, who's been hosting her annual festive dinner.
I hope the turkey there wasn't as tough as that one. It looked like old boots.
I'm
that.
sure it was perfect.
Well, Gloria spends all year raising money to make it happen, and many people who come along wouldn't normally get the chance to share Christmas with anyone else. Katie Oscroft was there.
You have to move fast to serve a room full of people, especially when most have been looking forward to this since last Christmas.
How it works, well, a lot is dependent on Santa's little helpers, and a lot is planned in advance. We get a lot of people from organisations and just volunteers coming along today. But I do a debrief before we start in the morning. It changes every year, it changes every minute.
150 people are sitting down to their Christmas dinner and getting together at what can be a lonely time of year.
It's breathtaking, it is, it's marvellous, yeah. Lost my husband earlier, and so I come with my friend.
And you really look forward to it?
Yeah, better than being on your own, isn't it? It's lovely.
I feel like you've probably been before, haven't you? Because you knew what to wear.
Yeah, I've got all sorts of hats, love it, love dressing up.
Do you look forward to coming?
Oh yeah, look forward to any dancing.
I thought, well, it'd be nice for me to come and make some friends and, you know, enjoy party and atmosphere.
It's nice to meet people, isn't it?
It is, because you get sat on a table with different people every time.
And the regulars include the entertainment.
What does it mean to you to be here?
Well, it means a lot to me because Gloria was wanting a singer, so I knocked on her door and she said, what do you want? I said, well, you're advertising for a singer. I'd like to help you. That was 19 years ago and I've done every one since.
It's a wonderful experience, a lovely atmosphere. For the people that's home alone at Christmas, this is a wonderful time to get together and not feel that loneliness.
It's all the work of Gloria and her willing band of volunteers. They spend all year raising money to put it on, even though Gloria's been suffering with her own health.
Gloria, you've not been well at all this year, but you're still doing it.
That's right, yeah. Well, as you can see, it means a lot to people. They make the effort, they get dressed up, probably only once a year, and they love it, so they should have it.
And they've been coming here for 19 years. Are you going to keep going?
That's right, it will go. I'm hoping to make 20 and carry on after that.
Merry Christmas, everyone.
And this is why.
Merry Christmas, everyone.
Katie Oscroft, ITV News, Sheffield.
It always fills me with Christmas cheer.
Yes, I was going to say it's taken me a while, but it's finally Christmas now that I've seen Mrs Christmas there in Sheffield.
I feel we can embrace it, don't you?
Yeah, once you've got Mrs Christmas, thankfully, and a Christmas tree.
Yeah. A beauty it is too.
And my Christmas openers.
Hey, I like
and a
that.
little bit of sparkle. We're getting there, aren't we? Thank goodness we don't have to rely on the weather. because that doesn't feel
it's
very
not very
Christmassy
festive, is
at
it?
all.
No.
Yeah, not very nice out there this evening. Again, tomorrow actually isn't very nice. Of course, a bit more detail coming up. But it was a beautiful sunrise first thing this morning. I don't know if you were up early enough to see it. This, of course, Wakefield. A big thank you to David for the shot. Beautiful, beautiful sunrise. Of course, we had some cloud. That just made the texture in the skies even better. A big thank you to Karen for this one in Barnsley and to Nick for this one. We had some mist and fog first thing this morning because the winds were lighter. Yes, that creates mist and fog, a bit of moisture, but also it was -3 Celsius, so it was a really cold start. Yeah, you can also see in Sandy's picture in the background there a little bit of mist, but this was also a sunrise rainbow, or a red rainbow, sometimes known as. Of course, that's because it's the sun rising that creates the rainbow effect rather than the sun above us in the middle of the day. So the reds and the oranges travel further than the blues and greens, and they get split, so it becomes more pink and red than it does blue and green. So a big thank you for your photos. Hopefully we might get a sunrise in the morning, but it does go downhill very quickly. But I would show you, this is some good news for 2025 already, and of course we've got a week or so to go. It has, for us and the UK, been the sunniest year on record. Data goes back to 1910. You can see on the map on the left, the very dark orange means the sunniest. So there's only really East Yorkshire that's in the top 5. But yes, previously, if you're 22 years or younger, you've had definitely your sunniest sunniest year on record. Here is your forecast.
Today's forecast: seafood and sugar cube towns. TUI sponsors ITV Yorkshire Weather.
Yes, at this stage all we can say is slightly quieter week as we head towards Christmas, but in the meantime, over the next few days, enough cloud to provide those brilliant sunrise and sunsets at times, but also unsettled conditions with further spells of rain, often quite windy. And it all starts this evening as this system pushes its way out to the North Sea, and this area of low pressure dominates tomorrow. Then it becomes slightly brighter as we head into Friday and a little bit drier, but you can see again low pressure and weather fronts waiting in the west as we head at least through the weekend. In the meantime, they're not very nice out there over the next few hours. Cloudy skies, outbreaks of rain, heavy at times, nudging eastwards. But it does all ease off a little bit as we head into the early hours, eventually becoming dry, winds not quite so strong and gusty, but allowing a frost-free night, lows of around 6 or 7 Celsius. Great shot by Alan, thanks for sharing. 8:20 and 3:45 are your sun times as we head into tomorrow. So a dry start perhaps, make the most of it if you can. Cloud will thicken through the morning, and then we see this area of rain nudging its way northwards, heavy and persistent, producing some standing water, really difficult driving conditions, and accompanied at least at times by some strong and gusty winds, especially out towards the coast. That system nudges its way north and eastwards though through tomorrow evening and tomorrow night, and then it leaves us with a westerly flow as we head through into Friday. So the further east you are, the brighter and drier the conditions. A few scattered showers in the west, yes, breezy, but definitely a drier day, and then a decent start on Saturday I think, but certainly rain waiting in the west and will definitely come to greet us for a time on Sunday.
TUI sponsors ITV Yorkshire Weather.
So no chance of a lovely, beautiful sunrise again tomorrow then?
Don't think it'll be quite as nice as this morning, but yeah. You need to be up early, don't you, for the best of tomorrow's weather, that is for sure.
I'll leave my alarm clock, thanks.
Have the extra sleep. Thanks very much for watching.